To order and welcome to our meeting, our regular meeting of USD 409. With that, I would entertain a motion to approve the ordering and approval of today's agenda, please. Thank you so much, Brandy. Thank you so much, Sally. I appreciate that. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, raise your right hand. Thank you so much. It does pass unanimously. First of all, we have recognitions tonight. We'll start with the staff recognition. Ms. Batson.
I'm so excited. This whole room is filled because of the teacher that we're recognizing tonight, Ms. Hutchinson, who is our business teacher, and she has a rare talent, as it was described in the recent Rotary. And I would say that is true, but not for only the reason that was shared at Rotary, but also because she has a rare talent finding the best in everyone, not only students, but staff, and challenging them to think about what could the potential be if we thought about something a little different, we pushed something a little further, or we tried something that we've never tried before. And that's absolutely what we want to see in education. We want to see that inspiration. So tonight, as our last staff spotlight of the 25-26 school year, because Ms. Hutchinson also started this year with me with FBLA and CTE ambassadors, we wanted to highlight you for making a difference in so many of our Phoenix families, students' lives. So Ms. Hutchinson, thank you for being here. And Sally right here as well. Thank you. That's okay. Anyone in a hat doesn't get to be a mess tonight. Where's next? Now, Ann, you and Sally have to take a picture together. The ladies who team. We also do want to offer our sincerest thanks to Chef Camille and her culinary students for this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful tea party we had tonight. And we want to honor a couple of students that are with us tonight. The first one being Trenton Wessner. Now, the first time I met Trenton was on the side of a football field, track, and he was one of the friendliest young men I've ever met probably in my life. And as my mother would say, I think he could talk to a stump, and the stump would talk back. And that's what I love about him. And since then, not only have I seen him involved in football, bowling, all different kinds of activities, he truly is one of those just well-rounded kids that is involved in lots of things, but still takes the time to invest in not only his fellow students, but the community at large. So tonight, we would like to say thank you for making us Phoenix proud to Trenton Wessner. So Trenton, if you'll come up, I believe it's we know this does not happen without your whole family. So we'd like for your family to join as well. And if we can get a couple of board members up there with Miss Hines and Trenton to join. Yeah, we'll try. Yeah, that'll be fun. Come join us, family. Come on. I know he's a sharp-dressed man. That's what I told him when he came in.
Or drop it right here.
Hey, we're getting the whole thing.
I'm fine with this. Yep. No, we're good. We're good. We're good. We're good. We're good. We're good. No, we're good. I love that.
All right. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Perfect.
It's gonna be a sweet magnolia's moment up here. I'll take that.
Our second student we'd like to recognize gets a little closer to home for me. He's one of our foreign exchange students from Spain, and he also happens to live in my house. So that's why I say it's a little closer to home. Carlos is a junior with us, and he talked about someone who just wanted to come embrace the American spirit. So Carlos came in and said, yeah, let's try football. Sure, let's try baseball. Sure, let's try theater. And sure, let's try culinary. And has found his passion and has decided he wants to become a chef. And that's because of American school system. Because when he first came and met with us, when we talked about what do you think you want to do in your future, Carlos was like, I don't know. But now he talks about what he wants, what type of restaurant he might open one day, what he wants to do in his future. So, Carlos, thanks for coming to America. Thanks for coming to Atchison, and thanks for being part of our Phoenix family.
Oh no, thanks everybody to let me be here and let me be exchanged to the program.
Yeah. All right, Miss Carrie has something for you, and then we'll get.
I don't know what you're doing up there. You must be very proud.
I am, but we in this fascinators having some work. There we go. I've got it all on.
That's fine.
Guys in?
We're a whole family catching.
All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3.
Those are always my favorite part of the meetings, by the way. Next, we have some reports. We'll start off with the FBLA and CTE Ambassadors Report.
Members of the board, administration, staff, and members. My name is Leah Tate. I'm an officer of our chapter national. Future Business Leaders of America, also known as FBLA. In March, our chapter attended the Kansas FBLA State Leadership Conference, where students competed in a variety of business, leadership, technology, and communication events. Our members competed against students from schools across the state, demonstrating skills they have developed through classroom instruction, leadership experiences, and months of preparation. This year, our chapter had 30 students attend the State Leadership Conference. Our chapter placed in 11 events, as shown on the slide. Chapter President Daryl Julo campaigned and won the Kansas FBLA Executive Board position as editor. We are proud to announce that several students qualified for the FBLA National Leadership Conference, which will take place this June in San Antonio, Texas. FBLA Nationals brings together almost 15,000 of the top FBLA students from across the United States to compete at the highest level. Qualifying for Nationals is a major accomplishment, and we are excited to represent our school, community, and state on the national stage. Tonight, each of our qualifying teams will briefly explain their event and what they have done to prepare.
Hello, my name is Brayden Minner, and I did my thing with Ali Morrison and Kenny Sunglo. We qualified for Nationals in broadcast journalism. This event challenged us to create and present a professional-style news broadcast that demonstrates communication, storytelling, research, and production skills. For our project, we created a broadcast-style feature that highlighted student life, school involvement, and community connections through interviews, on-location filming, and edited news segments. We worked together to plan a storyline, capture video footage, edit transition and audio, and produce a polished broadcast that felt professional, engaging for viewers. We are excited for the opportunity to compete against the best teams in the country at Nationals.
Good evening. My name is Jenny Lowe. This is Lainey Tate and Daryl Julo. We qualified for nationals in the event Financial Planning. And in this event, we analyzed a financial scenario and developed a plan that includes budgeting, saving, investing, and debt management strategies. This event allowed us to apply real-world financial concepts and learn more about personal finance and long-term financial decision-making. Preparing for this event has strengthened our teamwork, research skills, and understanding of financial responsibility. We are proud to represent our school in this event.
Hello, my name is Niana Sanders.
And I'm Destiny Eiler.
We have qualified for nationals in the healthcare administration. This event tested our knowledge of healthcare systems, medical ethics, patient care, healthcare policies, and management practices.
We both attend Highland Community College as well as working part-time at local care facilities where we apply many of these skills in real-life situations. These experiences have helped us better understand healthcare management, patient care, and the importance of leadership and communication within the healthcare field. We are honored to have the opportunity to compete at the national level.
Hello, it is a pleasure to be here, and I'm very grateful for your time. My name is Robert Finnegan, and I've qualified for nationals in public service announcement. In this event, I created a 60-second public service announcement designed to raise awareness around cyberbullying. In my project, this involved doing research, writing a script, and making a video, editing the video, and explaining a call to action. I learned in this event communication, networking, video production skills, a bit of communication and presentation skills, and I will aim to continue improving my project before finals.
Hello, my name is Chloe Brinsfield, and my team was composed of myself, Celine Healy, and Daryl Julo. We qualified for nationals in social media strategies. This event focuses on creating a professional social media campaign designed to reach a target audience and promote engagement. Our topic this year was getting students and young adults ready for tax season. Our team developed a complete strategy that included branding, content planning, audience research, and promotional goals. Through this event, we gained experience in digital marketing, communication, analytics, and teamwork. We are excited to represent our school and Kansas at the National Leadership Conference.
Good evening. My name is Calvin Mortensen. I qualified for nationals in technology support and services. This event focuses on problem solving and technical support skills related to computer systems, software, networks, and customer service. Preparing for this competition helped me strengthen my technology troubleshooting skills and better understand the importance of communication and customer service within the technologies field. I'm grateful for the opportunity to compete nationally and continue developing these career-ready skills.
Good evening, my name is Daryl Julo. We are extremely proud of what our FBLA members have accomplished this year. Qualifying for the National Leadership Conference is a major achievement. We are excited for the opportunity to represent our school, community, and the state of Kansas in June in San Antonio. Attending nationals does come with some significant travel and conference expenses. To help offset these costs, our chapter is currently working on fundraising efforts and sponsorship opportunities. These fundraisers not only help students attend the conferences, but they also teach important lessons about responsibility, teamwork, communication, and community involvement. We'd like to thank our school board, administrations, teachers, families, and community members for the supporting FBLA program and encouraging students to pursue leadership and career development opportunities. Thank you for allowing us to share our accomplishments tonight. I'd love to answer any questions you have.
I actually did have a question. I understand there was maybe some issues with the activity account. Do you know anything about that? Can you speak to that?
As far as what I know as far as the balance currently?
Yeah, I understand there were some issues with your having access to the balance information.
Yeah, I have struggled a little bit to get a balance. It's been hard. I haven't been able to get a balance to know what we have in our account or where the money is going. We did have a check that bounced back, expired after 90 days, and somebody reached out to us to let us know that. So it was a little bit concerning there, but I haven't been able to get any sort of balance, or if we turn in money, no sort of receipt or anything like that at all through last year, this year, entirely.
Okay, so you're still waiting?
Yes.
Daryl, you mentioned fundraising. What's the next fundraising goal?
So we really wrapped up most of our fundraisers. We had a nice one down at the brewery a couple weeks ago here. They are working on some sponsorships with some businesses. As of right now, we don't have another fundraising event planned.
People can still come.
Absolutely.
If you're not impressed by what you've seen tonight, between the culinary, between these young women and men who have come forward, I'm trying to figure out how I can get Mr. Finnegan to do my inclement weather announcements. I know, I see that in our future, sir. I see it. Portland is going to be upset though. But anyway, Atchison School District has amazing things happening in its halls every day. And this is the capstone that you see represented right here in front of you. And you have every reason to be proud. Now, we're an organization of humans, so we got lots of opportunities for growth. But there is right there our future, and that's amazing. So thank you. We're very proud of all of you.
I just wanted to tell all of you that the band concert the other night and the chorus this weekend was fantastic. We have so much talent.
Absolutely.
You guys were just.
Yeah. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Next up is our USD 409 athletic and activity update with Tyler Lukanoff. I invite you to the podium, Mr. Lukanoff.
We also know that some of you are preparing for finals. And as your lead academic officer, we also say, if you need to go home and study, you are excused. But you're also welcome to stay. And then, whatever you want.
I'm gonna turn this on, but I'm gonna be careful because I got a voice on me, as you all know, so I'm trying to stand back a little bit. Thank you guys for giving me the opportunity to come and speak with you guys a little bit about our athletic and activities, just some updates, really just trying to do an overview with you all. Look into a little bit of the data as far as our participation, both at the middle school and at the high school level. After that, we'll talk a little bit about some updates and upgrades that have been afforded to us via the bond and a few other projects and things that we are continuing through the rest of this year and then also into next year. As several board members and Superintendent Batson have pointed out, that we really do have some super talented students in our school district, and we're going to try and showcase as much of that in the 4 slides that I have to share with you. But there are some amazing things that happen in the 25-26 school year, and so we're going to highlight a good portion of those, and then really just kind of wrap things up with just have a little talk about some upcoming possible challenges, things that we're going to possibly need to consider as we move forward, just things that are sort of coming to my mind, and just seeing how things are kind of coming together. So fancy. Here we go. Okay, so just to get you guys started, so this is just a little bit of an overview of our participation. So at Atchison High School, so there's 396 students enrolled. Out of that 396 people, we have 217 folks. I use the term athletes, but I'm gonna put it in a different perspective for you. 217 people who've turned in a physical, right? So those are people who are participating in sports, right? Things that require a physical, right? So I throw that athlete term around a little bit, but these are probably your more traditional sports, right? So these would be like football, basketball, baseball, volleyball, cross country, anything that would require you to have a physical. That's what I'm talking about in those opportunities. Currently, we have 18 athletic programs, so that would be sport-based programs within that. And then at the high school right now, we have 18 clubs or activities that are offered along with that. So when I think about activities, we're thinking about things like K, FBLA, we're thinking about forensics, we're thinking about Scholars Bowl, right? These are things that are sort of co-curricular activities that you don't necessarily have to have a physical for, but you are afforded the opportunity to participate in them. So at the high school right now, we're at about 54% of our entire student body is involved in some sport. I would venture to guess that our activities and our club involvements would probably take that number up closer to about 75% of our student body being involved in not just one thing, in multiple things, right? A school of our size, we have a lot of carryover from sports to fine arts to activities, and so I was really glad to see that number. That number even jumps up as we get to the middle school. So at the middle school, we had 118 athletes or 118 people who had turned in a physical for the year, and that's just in 7th and 8th grade out of a total of 174 students in those two grades. So that's 67%. Right? They have obviously less offerings than the high school has from an activities and an athletics standpoint, but right now we have 10 athletic programs in the fall, winter, and spring. And then we have, it's actually about 7 to 8 clubs and activities that are offered. I almost said the two numbers together, and in my head I was like, I can't say that, but it is probably about 8 clubs and activities, so I needed to update that because I left out our drama and theater, musical type of things whenever I was going through and offering that. So we have a really strong participation at the middle school and at the high school. The spiel that I give folks all the time whenever we have our parent meetings is that, if you look into the research that goes along with being involved in schools, a lot of it will point to that if you are involved in something as a student, could be anything, could be something, you tend to have better grades, you tend to have better attendance at school, and you tend to not get in trouble as much, right? And all three of those things I think are super positive. So I encourage our 8th graders that just came over to the high school for their incoming freshman day and tour to get involved in something, try something. Try something new, right? Try a sport that either they've been playing for a long time and they feel super comfortable, or they're like, hey, I don't really like playing this sport anymore. I want to try something different. They have so many more opportunities afforded to them in the different seasons of activities. Along with my 3 or 4 slides that I have for you, you're going to see a ton of pictures. I'm a picture-taking fool. I ask I ask our administration to take pictures, whoever to take pictures and send them to me, because it is a great reflection of all the offerings, 1, that we do have, and then 2, to celebrate the successes and the people that are behind all these numbers. So in this particular slide at the very top, underneath the heading, that is our boys soccer team on senior night. So it's all of our senior soccer players. Underneath that is our middle school Scholars Bowl team. We hosted our first ever Scholars Bowl meet at Atchison Middle School, which I was pretty pumped about because I'm a huge Jeopardy fan, and so I just was really in tune with, like, this is going to be awesome. And I found some really dedicated staff members to read and be judges, and it went awesome. We ended up hosting 2 this year, and so after the first one was done, I was like, oh, I can do that. Like, I had teachers, I had staff, they were pumped up. Hannah was one of my moderators, right? And so, so it was a really neat experience for us. We're excited about the opportunity to continue to host at least 1 meet every year into the future with our league. And then down in the right-hand corner is our middle school volleyball team. Competing there. I can tell it's very early in the season because the gloss is still on the gym floor, right? So I can tell it's super early in the year. Okay, our updates and our upgrades. And I, by the way, caught some really awesome photography skills this year with a few of these pictures in the sunsets at Amelia Earhart Stadium. But Amelia Earhart Stadium, the turf field and the track resurfacing as a part of the bond has been a huge upgrade, not only for our sports teams, but also for our community. We have new locker room upgrades at the high school, so all 4 of the locker rooms have been refurbished. all of the plumbing, showers, all of that is working and up to date. And so that's really exciting whenever our kids utilize it, or we have folks that come to us as visiting teams. Along with that, we were able to capture two of the shower stalls. We were able to create an officials locker room that's back in that hallway as well. We used to put our officials all the way down the hall in our functional special ed room. So being able to kind of have everybody right by the gym, I think is a big positive. Give them their own changing space, shower, restroom, all of that. So I think a lot of that is really exciting as well. The band and choir room upgrades. So we obviously repurposed the little theater area. It's amazing in there. I take people in there and their eyes just get super big. Like, this is amazing. We brought, when we had the when we had our Be the Spark grant visit, we took them in there and was like, look what we did. And I tried to find a picture. Of course, I didn't have a picture to be able to show them what it looked like before, but the transformation is amazing. And then to be able to then give each band and choir their own space to be able to utilize, I think is so critical to then having awesome performances that you as board members and community members get to see the last few weeks. I think that's a really big piece to it. One thing that maybe isn't like super out there, but my coaches know a lot about it, is our expansion of our what we call Huddle. So Huddle is the platform that we utilize to capture game tape and practice tape to then be able to use it for teaching teaching purposes with our student athletes. We also utilize it. We have Huddle, what we call Huddle Assist, that is included in our expansion, and we basically can send our game film into Huddle. They will break it down, they will stat it, they will give us all these reports and information back. As we're back in the good old days, coaches would go and sit there and input every single piece of data into that. We're past that now, and so we let somebody else do it. It's about a 24-hour turnaround, and they have all that information to us. Because of that expansion, we have fixed cameras at the stadium, at the Amelia Earhart Stadium, and then also in our gym that coaches can utilize that for game tape. They can do their games on there. It will automatically record. It's a really neat process, but there's about 3 or 4 cameras on it, and it will sit there and it will track motion up and down the court, and so kind of a neat situation. We do have continued in-house training services through Amberwell, so we've expanded that this year to where we have Joe Walter, our trainer, who's there 3 days a week. So not only are we getting injury clinic, which is what we've always kind of gotten, where kids who have bumps and bruises and sprains and whatever are able to then meet with the trainer, but we also have the opportunity to provide some physical therapy with some of our students that are struggling with certain injuries, right? And so it gives us a liaison between the doctors and us, right? And then kind of puts Joe in that spot to be able to communicate with me, and communicate with coaches, and communicate with parents as well. And then the thing that I'm really excited about, which is kind of a cool thing, but once again will be sort of a behind the scenes situation for a little bit, is currently for our scheduling platform we utilize a company called Arbiter. It was formerly Our School, and so we would track all of our scheduling from an athletics and activity standpoint. On that, we are going to switch that program, and we're going to switch it to a company called Bound, is what it's called. So what it will afford us the opportunity to do is it will really clean things up for us on a website perspective for our athletics website. The other really, really important thing that I feel is game changer is that middle school and high school athletics will all be on one site. There will gone are the days of going to 2 different places and going, well, this is on this day and this is on this day. Nope. With Bound, when you go to September 10th, it's going to show you what's going on at the high school, what's going on at the middle school, what practices are happening. All of that's going to be listed, so it makes our one-stop shop for our parents, for our community members, for all of you, for our teachers to be able to go right there and look at it, right? So when we're looking at basketball, we're not just looking at high school basketball. If we're looking at high school boys basketball, we're looking at varsity, JV, C, 8th grade, 7th grade, all in one shot, right? And so to me, that is a really big piece that I was looking for, to be able to put everything together, instead of having 2 separate things, 2 separate websites. It will all be on one. Our league at the high school level is switching to Bound. A good portion of our middle school league is already starting to make the switch over to Bound. So, and it just seems to really be growing a lot in Kansas. It's originally based out of Iowa, and so the situation's been really positive, but that will be for next year, so we'll finish the year in Arbiter, and then everything we have, we'll be putting out some communication for the scheduling of those things. Okay. Now, for the accomplishments. I can't fit enough pictures on these slides, right, with all the type that I need to put on there. But there were some huge moments that happened with USD 409 students and their involvements in activities and sports. We have individual honors, we have team honors, we have entire group or activity honors. So I just listed out a big smattering of all of them. Obviously the big one that really has gotten some notoriety is, and well deserved too, is Octavia Burnett, first ever state champion wrestler for us. Really swept her way through regionals and through the state meet. I think she pinned everybody but one person in regionals and then pinned everybody at state all the way. So even in the state championship match. So against the girl who is in that picture just by chance, but she faced her in regionals and then faced her again in the state championship match, which incredible for her. We're super excited. It's a huge accomplishment. Just moving down the list, we had another state boys basketball appearance. That's our fourth in a row. That is a huge accomplishment. Even tougher accomplishment this year with the quarterfinal setup, right? It used to be the top 8 would go to state. Now, got to play that quarterfinal game, got to win that, then to be able to go to your state basketball, right, or your Final Four. We had state qualifiers in band and choir, bowling, wrestling, forensics. We have, for I believe the 4th year in a row, we've had a Kansas Shrine Bowl football player in Brody Barnes. 27 all-conference players across all of our sports. That doesn't include sports like wrestling or cross-country where you place, right, and you medal, and then you are all-conference as well. So we had multiple cross-country placers. Down in the right-hand corner, Adriana Delgado won league in girls cross-country this year. So I think her 2nd year in a row of doing that. So pretty incredible there. We also had several boys and girls wrestlers who were Meadowlark Conference champions as well. Along with some more individual honors, we had Player of the Year in volleyball, who I think you guys gave a little reception to, Zariah Burge. We had Coach of the Year in boys basketball, Coach Pat Battle. Newcomer of the Year in boys basketball, which was Trayvon Gillum. Had a pretty significant freshman year, I would say. And so I really had some nice accomplishments with that. We were conference champions in volleyball, girls basketball, boys basketball, and then baseball and softball. Right now we are slated to be conference champions in those. At our state music festival, we had a 1 rating from our choir, who there in the middle, they sang beautifully. I think I saw Kathy there for sure, but I mean, just that one song with the pauses, it was, whoa, it blew my mind. I left and I was telling everybody, that I couldn't do that. I just couldn't do that. It was so amazing. So, and then our band received a 2 rating. You can see them. They had a wonderful marching band season as well in the fall. And then just, like I said, I'm just keep on going. We had a triple jump school record that got broken. Leighton Boldridge broke his dad's triple jump record from when he graduated, which was, a few years ago. And so, leave it at that. So, it's been a minute. The tough part is I told him, I was like, I wish you had a shorter first name so I didn't have to replace Boldridge I could just scrape your dad's name off and put your short 3-letter name there. But no, we're going to have to take it all off and we'll put it on and it'll be great. So we have an Area 1 president with K. We have national qualifiers in FBLA. And then at this point, we are at 13 college signees for sports and activities. And you'll see some pictures of them on my last slide. But then going around the horn here at the top left is our boys basketball team. Obviously, I talked about the state appearance. They won the Tonganoxie tournament, which is where that picture was taken. Our marching band competing down below that. Down below them was our girls basketball team. That was at the JCN tournament that took 3rd place. In the middle is our choir. Top right is our first ever state champion, Octavia Burnett. To the right, our girls soccer team, who right now is slated that they're probably going to be the 3 or 4 seed, so they're going to host for regionals, so that's exciting, and that means that they would host both games of regionals, so with being a higher seed, so that's great. And then I already mentioned Adriana down there at the bottom, so and just kudos to her, just because she's an athlete and she's involved in multiple things. She was actually a Kansas Governor's Scholar. We had her reception, and Governor Kelly was there, and it was amazing. But she was recognized for that being the top 1% across all of Kansas. So, I mean, to think about your academics and to be as involved as she is in our adrenaline and cross country and all these things, and so kudos to her as well. Okay. And then my last slide, just some things to think about, things that that I've talked with Ms. Batson about, and things that we're going to have to consider. So upcoming, there's going to be expanded coaching trainings for medical, for emergency, for our communications. Obviously, we're aware of the situation involving communication starting next year. That's going to change things for our coaches, 100%. And there's going to be some growth that comes with that. But Donna and I have been talking a lot, and she's going to talk a little bit about kind of a plan that we have moving forward for next year to address that, especially with our coaches and our sponsors, because it's going to be a big change for them as well, and we fully understand that. So we're going to have expanded coaching trainings for those. I put on there our continued growth of coaches and their knowledge base. Just with the way things have gone in academics and athletics, we are having less teacher coaches, sort of that combination, that, the old teacher coach. Now we have teachers and we have coaches. And so, sometimes we need to fill the gap with some of those, with some of those knowledge bases, and that's my job, to help fill that role. And so really that's going to be sort of my plan as we head into the summer, is to really develop ways to make sure that we have the best coaches, right, so that they're doing things the right way with our kids, to then get the awesome things that you're seeing in the pictures that you've seen before. So I put on there enrollment leading to possible participation issues. We may have to look at some programs, right? If we don't have the participation to fulfill them, looking at them for the longevity and looking at the whole department as a whole. Doesn't mean we're just going to start slashing stuff left and right, slashing sports. That's not what we're going to do. But we may need to evaluate the effectiveness of them, and are they things that we can continue to go, or is there something else out there that people really have interest in and want to pursue? Kids are talking, the girls are coming up to me going, why can't we have flag football, right? That's the big thing, 100%, and 100%. And so if that is where the participation is going, and folks want to go down that road, 100% we can do that, right? And we have a process with the district to be able to do that. And so, so we've talked about that as well. Then just continuing to monitor and look at our facilities, look at possible upgrades, right? If there's, obviously the bond took care of a really big chunk of the things that we were wanting to address, and so that's wonderful. But we're just going to continually look at our gym, we'll look at our practice fields, we'll look at our, the soccer fields, anything that we have, we just need to continue to evaluate that and find ways to make the experience the absolute best that we can. And then just the last thing, and just the rising costs of everything that's associated with sports. When I started as the assistant principal athletic director at the middle school, I can distinctly remember buying football uniforms for about $2,000, and I could get 30 of them, and it was wonderful. Now that quote has probably quadrupled, if not more, right? And that was for middle school, right? So it was, I don't want to say, it was, they were great stuff, but it is just, the price of things has just gone way up with uniforms, with equipment. Our officials, we have less officials. The official rates are going up slowly, $5, $10 a year, but then you start to do that over year after year after year, and it just comes down to it, right? So, and then like entry fees to get into tournaments, to get into things like that. So those are all just things that we have to keep in mind, that I have to keep in mind, and help try and manage those and mitigate those the best that we can. And so, just some things that are there. And then the pictures that you see up there are, I couldn't get all of them on there because there's 13 of them, but I tried to get the overwhelming majority of them. But this is, I believe, 11 of the 13 kiddos that are signing to play. We have a wide variety of sports and activities that folks are going to be involved in, and a wide variety of colleges and junior colleges that folks are going to. We have soccer, we have football, we have baseball, we have basketball, we have rowing, we have bowling, right? So we have this whole wide swath of softball. I mean, like, we have this whole wide swath of student athletes who are going and playing at the next level, and it's a big shout out to them for continuing that and being our leaders. But I tried to kind of go around. I'm going to try, I think, the top left is Aiden Honeywell, football, Mid-American Nazarene. Next to him is Avante House Battle, Ottawa University football. Down from that, Finn and Patterson, the St. Mary's, University of St. Mary. Next to them, that is that Kaya Downing? Yeah, Kaya Downing is going to Southwestern College. Colton Bonnell, Coffeyville College. Andy Estes is going to Iowa Western to play softball. Yogi Purdy, man, I'm really straining. Yogi Purdy going to baseball to play Coffeyville. Back on the left-hand side, Carolyn Fryman, bowling, Kansas Wesleyan University. Brody Barnes, Hutchinson Community College for football. Kelsey Rebant, rowing, Kansas State. Yeah, your K-State folks are really excited. So it was interesting to hear her talk about rowing and you know how folks think about that, and it's wonderful. It was a cool experience. And then our latest signee down at the bottom right, Kale Williams, going to Sterling College to play basketball. So super excited for all of them. Proud of all of their accomplishments, and so that is really kind of the overview I wanted to give you. I realize that it's just sort of an umbrella look at things, but if you guys have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Since our enrollment's dropped, what's it going to do with our classification?
Sure. So at this point, right now, the only thing that it has affected for next year is football. So football, just so everyone's aware, has dropped from 4A to 3A for the next 2 years. So football does a 2-year rotation. So we will be 3A in football for the 26-27 and 27-28 school year. What that means is that they do 3-2 and 1A and 8-man and 6-man. They do a different playoff setup than 4, 5, and 6A. The way that they do it in 3A is it's similar to how I kind of did it when I was in school. I feel like kind of like nostalgia talking about that, but essentially there are 5 teams in a district, and it's a geographical district. We will play those 4 other teams, and then the top 2 of those teams will then move on based on record and points scored. So next year, when we would normally play all of our Meadowlark conference schedule, we will not do that. So we will only play 3 of those schools. We will play Highland Park, we'll play Wyandotte, we'll play Schlegel. We will continue to keep Ottawa on the schedule as our first game of the year, but then we will introduce other 3A schools that are in our geographical area, which will be Holton, Nemaha Central, Jefferson West, and Hiawatha. Those will be the other 4 schools with us, and that is our district. So next year, you will see those schools on our schedule, and you have not seen them before, but that is how we will get to the playoffs from that perspective.
And then the rest have stayed 4A this next year?
This is correct.
Then
Yep.
do they go down the next year?
No. So what it is, it's based on a year-to-year situation with classifications. Right now, I anticipate that we will stay 4A in all sports with the exception of football at this time. And I'll just, based on the numbers right now, when we did our count day, we were at 400 for the high school. And so the cutoff for 3A, the cutoff for the very last team in 4A was 308. So we got a ways to drop before we would drop to 3A for everything else. But yeah, it's kind of confusing. But yeah, football's its own classification, and then everything else is the other one.
And then I was going to ask you, I know the Chiefs had had this big push for girls flag football that they were presenting to the school. I think they called. What was that about?
Sure.
What would they do?
Sure. Yep. So what they would do is a program for the Chiefs. They piloted it in with a lot of the Kansas City-based schools, and so essentially what it was is that they would come in, they would provide the coaches. Excuse me. They wouldn't provide the coaches. They would provide the referees. They would provide uniforms. They would provide equipment, and then what they would do is that they would essentially schedule games with the other teams that the Chiefs had sort of, I don't want to say recruited, but essentially recruited to be able to do that. And then they would schedule games that they would play on Saturdays during that time. A lot of our conference group went ahead and did that just because, like I said, their numbers are a lot bigger than ours. And I think they had went ahead and moved down that route. I came into contact with them after that situation had already happened because they were talking with those Kansas City, Kansas public schools and asking, who else could we reach out to? And their AD said, well, this Highland Park and Atchison are both in our league. And so reached out and had a conversation about it. And at that point, didn't make a decision to move forward with it. But, ultimately, if the participation pushes in that direction and we want to have girls flag football, that's fine. There's a process that we have that you have to go through to be able to add it, but the earliest it could be added for us would be the 27-28 school year. So there's an application process. It has to be turned in by December 1st of this coming year, and then it would have to be with our district.
Do that again because it sounds to me like it would offset some of our costs.
Certainly. I would have to check in to see if that would be something that they would continue to do. I know it was a big push. I worry the sustainability of them continuing to do it year after year after year. But like I said, for sure. The initial cost of the startup of things, absolutely. Yeah, you're welcome.
Tyler, on
Yes.
if the soccer hosts playoffs, is that going to be on the turf or would that be at the soccer?
Sure. At this point right now, it would probably be at our turf field. We would probably play it at Amelia Earhart Stadium. Unfortunately, we had a situation where we had to have some repairs done to our soccer field, and we sustained a little damage to our field. It has since been repaired, but it is not quite up to the standard that we would want it to be from a safety standpoint to put our student athletes back on there right now. I think it will eventually get there. And it will repair, and we will get grass grown in some of the areas that there isn't. But if we do that right now, we would play on the turf field. So. Okay. Anything else?
I have a question.
Sure. Go.
So, like with women's soccer, so we can add like homeschool children, Mount Moore-Hill, or the Mount. So if our numbers dropped in women's basketball, is that something we could do to add? I mean, does it make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. So any homeschool student has the ability to come and play with us, come and play in their local public school district as long as they live within our district boundaries, right? So they have to live with our district boundaries. The situation that we have right now with Moore Hill in a few sports, softball is one of them, soccer is one of them, is we have a co-op agreement through CASHA. It's a 2-year co-op agreement to where we agree that we will play as one team under the Atchison High School name because they do not offer both of those sports, right? So they come to us, we practice, we do everything here. Along with that, we do have homeschool students in a couple of different activities and have had for several years now. They have to go through a completely different process. They go to CASHA, they create a login, and then they have to input a bunch of information. They have to input their all of their grades, their current schedule, like basically their transcript from their homeschool. It then goes to CASHA. CASHA then looks through it, and then they come back to me and say, does this person live within your district bounds? And I go and look with my little map that Jenny Dryden gave me that shows me which ones, who lives in our district. I go click on your house and it'll say 409 or 377 or whatever. And so if they do, then I click approve. And it really is, I hate to say it, it's a very simple process. And And I would welcome, since I'm in a community forum right now, I would welcome any homeschool students who would like to get involved in Action 409 activities. Let's do it. Give me a call. I can walk you through the process. So there is the possibility to do that with other sports, but it has to be the agreement of both schools. And there has to be a few things. I think there's 3 criteria, one of which is a lack of coaches, 2 is a lack of numbers, and then there's a third one that is escaping me right now. And so if, for instance, with basketball, if Moore Hill has the numbers to sustain a girls basketball team, then a co-op would not probably go through, because KSHO, once again, still has to approve that, and they have to approve it, and we have to say this is why we're doing it, right? It's because, in this particular instance, Moore Hill does not offer softball. We're providing these students the opportunity to come over and play with our team. With them having basketball, it would have to be a participation or a numbers situation that we both would agree with, right? Or a coaching choice.
Let us know that our basketball numbers, women's basketball, dropped
Yep.
tremendously.
Yep. Yep. And we're trying to work, me, Coach Reman and I, we figured out a little bit of a plan for the summer that we're gonna really try and kind of take things back to basics and really focus on participation as opposed to competition this summer. I really think sometimes it's scary because you just get thrown to the wolves a little bit in summer. You've probably all had children that have been involved in summer sports and that, and sometimes it can maybe be a little overwhelming, especially if you're new to a sport, but we're trying to create a positive experience, especially with girls basketball, really bolster our participation numbers, and then really kind of build out our skills and such from there, so, yeah. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Oh, man, I'm so sorry. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Good presentation. Next, we have our district guide for the two-way messaging with students from KSB and Mrs. Batson. You're up. And Donna Knoll. Thank you, Donna.
Last month we went over this House Bill 2299 as part of kind of board report. I want to go over it a little more. In this, it is law for the state of Kansas. As parents, you're going to start receiving more and more information about that as we get through this school year and beginning to next school year. Board Member Chowder asked, could we do this every month and give an update on the progress we've made? And so this is our monthly update on the work we've done this month in making the requirements for this House bill. So this month, we spent a lot of time really focusing on the social media communication aspect of it. I'm going to have Donna kind of share with you kind of her work and her team's work that they did with this.
So Dr. Batson, she tasked Tyler and myself to find a good messaging system because we have a plethora of different things going on. Different people use different things, and coaches are big users, like the Band app, the Remind app, text, Seesaw, email, Remind. It's just all over the place. And as a parent, you don't know what to look and where to, just trying to organize it. Well, I'm on the Kansas listserv for the tech directors, and since this bill was passed, my feed's just blown up because every school in the state is scrambling to find something. And it takes effect in July, and we have till September, but we can't wait till September. So anyway, they came out with these sport-specific criteria. I have them listed there that you need to comply to the law. And via the listserv, the two that rose to the top were a product called Apogee Rooms and Parent Square. We use Apogee currently for our website, so that was already in for us because it would merge with what we already have. So there was a whole team of us, Lindsay and Tyler and me and Jenny, and there's a whole bunch of us. We listened to the demo of each of them, then we went back and did it again because we had questions, and then this guidance came out, so then we had to make sure all the guidance matched up, which after all that, we decided to go with Apogee Rooms. One of the reasons is that it works very well with Power School because we're Power School users, and it will work with our website. So there's not a big learning curve and not a whole new thing. It's going to be very app driven. I mentioned today that we have an app, and everybody's like, "We have an app?" Yeah, we have an app, which will be updated, and that will be all communications will take place in one place. Whether you have a kindergartner or a senior, or they play 4 sports, or they are in 3rd grade program, everything will be in one app, and it's called Rooms. It does match up perfectly with the criteria. It's owned and licensed contractually through the school. All the users' accounts are created and managed by the school, and that's all through PowerSchool, and the parents themselves are entering that information on enrollment, so it should be correct. District officials have access and oversight to the ability to review any of all the messages, so anything that's put in there can be reviewed by us at any time. And it's archived, so we can also go back and archive it, or go back and see what it was. Parents and guardians, access to the platform. This is an app, and we can push the app to all of the student iPads, so they will have that app. Coaching, again, will be a big use of it, so if there's a difference, a change in schedule, or the bus is leaving different, or whatever they communicate, that'll all be in there. Things that the law does not regulate, just so you know, is the email use. Social media, it has to be one way. It can't be two-way, because this law is about two-way communication. It's back and forth. That's what has to be monitored. And it won't affect our mass communication like snow day. That communication will not be switched. Next slide. So one back end piece that we also liked about this is that it has a lot of AI built in, so it can identify harmful things that might come across, so it can alert us if there's inappropriate messaging going on. Either way, if the student says something, or the teacher says something, or the parent says something, we'll be alerted to that. It can recognize photos that are inappropriate. We can block keywords. So it has a built-in safety feature as well. We have got meetings set up galore. I have two more this week on After G, and we have one with administrators coming up. We are jumping into this and getting it done right away. So we're not waiting until it's due in September. We're going to start right away, hoping to send an email out to teachers before they leave, just to say, hey, this is coming. We will train you. Yeah, it's really pretty user friendly. Once we say this is where you go, you kind of figure it out from there. But what's good about it is things will already be set up, because since it syncs with PowerSchool, your classes will already be set up. Your parents' information's already in there. All of that syncs. And I've talked to 3 schools now that currently use it, and they're all PowerSchool schools, and they all love it. So we're hoping that's good. And again, this is the two-way communication piece, not the cell phone piece. That's another piece.
Which I tried to test with Donna as well, but she had some feedback for me on that, and now that's back in my lap. But with that, so we've got an avenue now that we've really gained some traction on with the cell phone and the two-way communication. The piece that's our next area of focus is the logistics part, the inaccessible, off the student's body piece of it, all right? And in this, I have at each of your places KSB's most updated guidance kind of on this. And this is straight off of that. And schools must restrict student use and access to cell phones and personal electronic communication devices during the school day. So in that is a bell to bell as it comes through. That means not during lunch, not during passing period, not as a reward, nothing. The only exception to that is if a student has a documented medical or other need, and it must be documented by an IEP or 504, okay? With that licensed physician, and here's the little caveat. The licensed physician has to say why there's no other reasonable alternative. So, for example, we have a student per se that has extremely high anxiety, all right? And they have a Calm app on their cell phone that they use, or some type of breathing regulation app. Is there another way that could be reasonable to expect a school to have that the student can have access and to not have the student have their cell phone, okay? So with this, the next area of focus is on that. And one of the things, and Mr. Schouder had sent this, some examples of this to us. No decisions have been made. These are literally stock photos that I pulled. Nothing has been purchased. Nothing is on any type of bid at this point. We have sent an email out to ANEA's leadership asking if there are any teachers who would like a voice to represent for their building. And there. The key for administration and initial talks are, we don't want to put this in a teacher's classroom that they're constantly being, hey, I got a dentist appointment. Hey, the football team's leaving. Hey, we got this. Hey, we got this. We don't really feel that's fair, especially to our secondary teachers. So we need it in some type of space that we can safely have 300 plus students before school and after school go trying to access their phones without having a logistics nightmare. It also has to be something that is secured, okay? And we have found ones that have individual keys. We found ones that have individual codes, those type of things. Wherever it'll be placed, it will be someplace that has a camera on it. So then that way we have some type of, surveillance going on at all times. Because we are all humans, and as humans, we get tempted to do things that are sometimes against the rules. Like I always give my example of speeding, all right, in there. We know that backpacks are really, really, really going to be one of those things that would be real tempting. So I'm just going to leave it in my backpack instead of putting it somewhere else. As a parent, you always have the right to have your child leave it in their personal vehicle if they're driving. Leave it at home. Part of the law says we have to allow your child access to a phone if they need to contact you. And then in that, we also we can't have it where we have cell phones and backpacks and kids walk around with backpacks. So more than likely, we'll be discussing the option, hear me say discussing, no decision has been made, that backpacks will be in lockers next school year, all right, in there. So as we go through this each month, we will be communicating. Conversations will be going out to families to help get them prepared. I will send out an initial end of the school year, thank you for a great school year, as well as look what's coming. By the way, if you have not heard this, there will be no cell phones. If you feel like your child has a medical necessity, please start getting that documentation now in there. But that's kind of where we are. Once again, what families really need to know, if you feel your child has an exceptionality to this law, like for example, a diabetic child whose blood sugar is monitored with their phone, absolutely. But we need that documented and we need to put them on a health care plan, okay? We are not denying any child access to safe health care, but we just have to have it documented. Okay, so that's kind of the work we've done in the last month since we updated you on where we are. Questions? Comments? Dawn and I are open.
I'm just curious, has KSB or anyone, like the lock, we're responsible for the lock, so if we had the case per se, what if someone stole the whole case? Are we responsible for that? It doesn't surprise me. No.
It will be in everything that we have, that is personal property, and you bring your personal property into that at your own risk.
Okay, because I don't want to be responsible
Now,
for
where that happens in the court system,
Yeah.
doesn't always equal what's on that sheet, and we all have to say that out loud. But that is the guidance that in your handbooks and your things your parents sign, when they assign, like a kid will have a phone locker, if that's what we end up going with, that they use. They'll have the same one all year, and they will, have their code. If they share that code with someone, it's the same as if they share their locker combination with someone. And in that's why I want cameras on them in places that have cameras, so then that way we can monitor. Because I have a sneaking suspicion that real life human kids might try to get there in the middle of class sometime and see if they could access their phone. So, because as a real life human, adults, we might try to do that sometimes. So, Anyway, that is what's been the guidance.
And this does include headphones, earphones, and watches.
It's supposed to be everything. Now, hear me say, you know, if a person has a watch that they're using as just a watch, and their phone, because the phone is supposed to be in the lock, it's turned off and stored away. And in there, you know, we'll see. I fully expect us to have lots of opportunities for professional growth.
So if the assumption is that our human students will be putting their phones in the little locker cases or whatever they have.
That will be the request.
So what then is the rationale behind having the backpacks go into lockers if they supposed to don't have the phones?
Because I have a sneaking suspicion that a kid's gonna say, I left my phone at home. And then they're gonna go to the bathroom with their backpack and pull the phone out of their backpack, use it in the stall, use it in whatever. And then it becomes an issue of, well, I know that Sally has it in the bathroom, and you didn't catch her, and you didn't take her phone away.
Could that be something that could be monitored though by teachers not letting students leave with backpacks, by monitoring using the
Except for and that would be something, like I said, I've reached out to ANEA, and I would definitely love some teacher voice in this, because you know, the reality is absolutely anything like that they're having to police will be something they have to police. So.
Interesting statement then from Alan Rivas in our meeting, when he's talking about the cell phones, and he said, well, they could just put them in their backpacks and have them in their backpacks. If they don't get them out, it's okay.
That's not what
I know, but this is our representative that said that.
So that's kind of where we are. We'll follow up each month with kind of where we are. I predict in June we will still be muddling through the logistics piece. Donna will make formal forward motion on Apogee as far as getting things set up, kind of making sure we've got it ready to rock and roll. But as far as the muddling through the what ifs and the finer points of the actual storage, we will probably still be muddling through some of that, because every school's different. Every school has different common spaces that potentially can be used, and every structure is different. You know, in elementary, they've got pods, and a lot of elementary kids don't have phones. There are more than you would think there, but you could put some of those locked boxes in the pods that all teachers can see and have access to. You know, a high school trying to manage that many students going in or out in one location, you have a logistics nightmare, not counting the cell phone. You have a safety concern that has to be considered. Middle school, you have the issue as well with the way those halls are, is where you would put those, because what I don't want is instruction to be constantly interrupted, because, hey, I got a dentist appointment. Hey, my mom's picking me up early. Hey, I came in late. I got to turn in my phone. Hey, I had, orthodontist. So that's where we are. We don't have it figured out by any means. But if you want to be involved, please reach out to Brad or Rachel and volunteer, because we'd love to have some teacher voice in that.
One other question, is the Apogee rooms, is that part of what we already paid for?
No.
Or is that an additional?
It's an additional,
But it's a very reasonable.
but it fits right in with what we have.
All right.
Thank you so much, ladies. Dimron, is there any public comments? Do you know? No public comments. Okay, so let's move on.
We do have 2 Cent Tuesday, Carrie.
Oh, let's talk about it.
It's our last staff 2 Cent Tuesday, tomorrow afternoon, 3:30 to 5. And then we will not pick up 2 Cent Tuesdays again until the fall. All right, but of course, anyone down here is welcome to meet, just let us know. We'll be happy to meet with anyone in the community or any staff member. But last one, good for you. Last time giving your 2 cents this year.
And thank you for bringing that, because I think that's been really helpful to our school family as well as our community. So good. So next is the approval of the consent agenda as presented, and I would entertain a motion for that, please.
Actually, I prefer to make a motion. I would request that 6.4, 6.5, 6.6, and 6.8 are taken off the consent.
5, 6, and 6.8. Okay.
So are you making the motion for that? And I need a second? Okay, thank you. Is that any discussion on anybody else? Seeing none, all in favor, raise your right hand. Thank you so much. We need to go back and do.
The consent agenda minus the 6.
Yeah, it passed with 6.4, 6.5, 6.8, and whatever without it.
6.5, 6.6.
So we need to go back and hit 6.4.
So I would make a motion, we approve the consent agenda items 6.1, 6.2, 6.3, and 6.7.
That was the motion that just got passed.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so now we're gonna talk about, what are we pulling out?
The credit card summary, so we're open to your questions.
So I had a question on the credit card summary for the Visa charges. It appears that all of the hotel rooms for, I'm guessing that was the basketball tournament for the men's basketball team, appears to have all been put on special ed credit card.
So it was purchased by someone in the Sped department right now. We are looking to set up a credit card that will break down, extract the report of what accounts and funds it goes to. That is an enhancement we're working on over the summer with us migrating everything to Skyward. Those were not charged to Sped. Those were charged to the athletic state lines.
Okay, so on the treasurer's report, I did see that bill appears to be paid. So my question would be, if an auditor for special ed comes in and sees that, what kind of issue is that going to present?
So when it pulls through in the finance system, it finds an out-of-line charge code. But right now, the way the system is designed, and we're working on updating that, it doesn't let us pull individual transactions that way, so we're entering them. So we're working on enhanced reporting on that.
So, like, my credit card was used for lots of, for things for state basketball too, in there. But it did not necessarily all come out of one fund. Some of it came out of athletics, some of it came out of district, my budget for general supplies and then that. But as far as the credit card, when it goes in there, the budget lines are
Goes to the proper.
on it.
Right.
So, that's one, yes.
Yeah,
That's one of the messes we get from it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just seems a little concerning because I know that special ed will be subject to financial audit for some.
Oh, yeah.
Some things, so
All fine.
We
Yeah,
got
all
our
fine.
eyes and
just
crossed our
not in the
T's.
habit of using those types of things, particularly something that's not a general budget. And it probably
Next.
So are you approving, or are we gonna wait and do it at the each
Well, it's just
individual?
do the
individual.
That's what I
Yeah,
thought.
don't take consent anymore.
So we need to approve 6.4 if you agree to approve 6.4.
I would make a motion to approve 6.4.
And may I have a second? Thank you so much. Any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. Thank you so much. And then next was 6.5.
6.5 is the activity fund and house statements.
And I had a question for that because Atchison High School activity fund is not in that, and there's been issues with that, so.
Yeah, and part of that is the accounting system we're using is an antiquated system that only allows one user at a time. I'm working with those building administrative systems who have been out to get those reports. That is all a manual process. There is no pulling it out. They have to pull it and create it individually.
So that is in MAPS, which is a system that Greenbush has not supported for 8. Oh, that was more than that. It's when I called
Greenbush
it
has
again.
supported it years, but then their company itself
Okay.
doesn't support it any longer for 3 years.
So it was the beginning of the year when I was trying to figure out.
We talked about that.
I called, right,
Yeah.
we talked about that. And there, all of that will be rolled over to Skyward this year. So we all have access to it, because like, we can all see it, and have that accountability.
You guys, would you turn your mics on? They can't hear when we're
Oh,
talking.
sorry, I apologize. I know, it was so quiet.
Sorry. So that'll get moved over to Skyward, and that was in our, communication, weekly communication. So with that, 6-5, I'd entertain a motion. And a second, please. I'll second. Thank you so much. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, raise your right hand. Thank you so much. Next, it was 6.
The
I'm
approved
lost.
insurance and benefits carriers.
And if I could just ask a little bit more information about what changes we had between last year and this year on our insurance.
So as far as the policies themselves, there's been no changes. The policies are staying the same. The only change is with our medical, after going through the negotiations process and in work with our insurance committee, we're coming in at an 18% cost increase across all 3 different plans. We have not come with the recommendation on the fringe amounts that the district pay. So this is just saying we need to work with these carriers for next year.
And so this is just through the next school year. And it's my understanding that after this next school year, we have the opportunity to open it up to more competitive bidding.
That is the point that I'd like to take it out to market.
We get, and we did go out, but it came in 23%, 23 or 24% higher. So hopefully next year it will.
And with my position being here earlier than January, we'll be able to start that process sooner. There is a lot of lead time going for an insurance renewal process, and we just didn't have time to go full bid market on every policy.
So I would move that we approve 6-6.
Okay, and may I have a second? Thank you so much. Any discussion? I like the collaborative effort on the insurance committee where everyone got to vote and everyone got to have a voice, and I appreciated that a lot. And I thought it was a good, and I think it was a consensus, wasn't it? Okay. So, anything else?
When you say you're gonna go out to the market, does that mean you're going to see this?
We want to look into that.
Process. Not saying that it will or won't change, but
Right,
it's something.
that's not necessarily just the,
Right. Typically, how your homeowners insurance, they recommend every 5 to 8 years, just see what's out there. We have been with CEDAs for 20 years. It's time to kind of look at what are those options.
And that'll be done through the insurance committee.
Right. Okay, any
No,
other?
The 6-8 is the.
We got to vote on that.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Any other discussion? Okay, raise your hand. Yes, we did, and it just passed unanimously. Thank you. And then 6-8, approve the handbook.
Yeah, and I just had a question. The copy of the district handbook we got was still a markup version, so is there a?
Doug, they can't hear you.
Your mic needs to be on.
Okay, I'm sorry. The copy of the student handbook we got was still a marked up version. Is there a final?
After it's approved, yeah, you get a final PDF, because at this point, because it's not been approved, it's still in draft form, and it shows what changes have been made or suggested. But yeah, once it's approved, it will go.
Okay, so then it would be just with every change that's in on the draft. All right.
Excuse me, I have a question. I noticed we still have the old cell phone policy in that. So what happens with the new?
Yeah, we will come back to you with an updated, asking for an amendment to our handbooks with that.
I have a motion, please,
So moved.
and a second. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, raise your right hand. Thank you so much. Our action items this evening are to approve the school improvement grant that I believe it was this career coach.
Yep, well, first, a couple of different things with Central, and absolutely, Ms. Hanson can help present this if she wants, but she said, oh, no, all right. So, as part of Every Student Can Succeed Act, all right, which replaced No Child Left Behind, right, in there, 7% of all federal funds, so a lot of times you think of those as title funds, reserved by your state education agencies, for us it's KSDE, have to go for school improvement grants. For us, those are managed by a group called TACIT in there. And your school improvement grants are for buildings that are identified as needing support. And a few years ago, Central was identified by this organization as needing to improve their graduation rate. Now, we're very excited to wholeheartedly say Central has improved their graduation rate, and Ms. Hanson and her team has done an excellent job with that. Hear me also say, because Central student population is relatively small, 1 or 2 students can significantly change that senior graduation rate, all right? So don't think, oh my gosh, the graduation rate fell. It could literally be 1 student, all right, in there. So what the position was written for, or what the grant was written for, were a couple of things that got funded, were some intervention materials that will be used at Central, and then this liaison type position that helps to kind of remove barriers. The system in understanding how to navigate a tech college and school systems and your IPS sometimes is very difficult, especially if your family has no experience with that, and maybe your school wasn't necessarily the most positive place for you as an adult or for your child. So this post-secondary success career coach is the person that can help families, can help students, and help staff kind of navigate that. It is a grant position. It is only funded as long as we keep receiving grant money. This is not something that is going to continue. This position will be based 100% at Central, all right, in there. Now, these are some of the sample things that we put as what their job responsibilities will be. Now, depending on the talent and the drive and the needs that kind of come up when we go through this, I'm sure this will change slightly, just like every other job description. But in there, it will be a resource we have the social emotional support through some of the partnerships at Central. This provides the other part of counseling that comes in with our secondary schools. Our high school has this part of career counseling and assessment counseling and work keys and things that go into it. This is what this position will help provide for Central as well, and to be a support for their staff and for Ms. Hanson. So if the board approves tonight, you'll be approving 2 things. 1, that we accept the grant, and 2, that we accept the job description for us to post on this. There's no one particularly we have in mind for this position, or know who will apply for this position. It will be a grant, as I said, funded position. They will sign something saying they realize that this is a grant funded position. And when this position, when the grant funding ends, the position ends. Now, obviously, if they're an excellent educator, we're going to do our best to keep them. But if I'm open to questions, Ms. Hanson's here if you have questions as well.
So there's no duration on it, just stating that. It's not like just 2 years, it's just year.
No, year after year. We did this in my previous district, and I'd had it for 4 years, 5 years. And we have expanded it every year to help out in a variety of ways.
They say free money, basically.
Yes, it's free.
Free position.
Well, there'll be some different work I got to do with this too,
Yes.
some reporting and things, but it's worth it if it helps support our kids.
That's right. I'd entertain a motion.
I saw that. First, we do them both together?
Yeah, you
Yes.
can.
Okay. That we accept the grant and that we accept the job description.
Yes. Good, Sam. Thank you so much for the second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, raise your right hand. Thank you so much. It does pass unanimously. Next, we're going to approve the AHS and AMS course edition as we have in paper and online.
All right, so as they're coming up, one of the things that we were out of compliance for this year, so we did a full audit, on through the spring that Ms. Yoakum got to lead is what's called a course mapping. All right, it's something that goes toward the back end of curriculum and instruction. It aligns what course codes to what you're teaching, to the standards, to what licensure is, to how you get funding and accreditation. All right. So as we did this and things popped up, that's where this work is heading. All right. Please hear me say, a lot of these courses we've had in some form or fashion for a long time. So even though it says new and you're like, we've had that, my kid took that, I helped teach that. Yes, absolutely. But it's not been necessarily aligned with all the pieces. And so we have to go now through board action and align all those pieces, which we're taking care of that tonight.
So that they may be off.
Yes.
Yes, yes, yes. So we started creating a new process, which will begin every year with the collaboration at the building level with counselors and administration. They will determine, based on what they're seeing through their audits of transcripts, what students are needing and what students might be lacking, or what courses might be kind of dwindling down a little bit. And so when they have those conversations, they will complete a course addition or deletion request form, which comes to me. At that point, I will analyze that and make sure I have all the information that I need, work with them to get additional information. I'll work on the back end with KCCMS, which is the course mapping through the state of Kansas, and within our power school system to make sure that we marry things. Course coding is really kind of like coding in a way. It gets a little rough at times for someone who's more of the logistics and not the numbers. But the course mapping numbers is also a piece that we look at during that process. And then if I have questions about what either licensure is required, maybe we're wanting to add a course, but we don't have anyone with that licensure, what the long-term plan is for that, or we don't have resources to teach that course. I have to work with administration to determine what the long-term plan is for that, where we're going to pull funding from, where the priorities are. And then I put all of that together, and then I meet with Ms. Batson and go over the requests that I have vetted and have all the information for, and then her and I sit down and go through them, talk about the need, the long-term need, if this is something that we feel comfortable moving forward with right now, or if this is one that we might be pausing, or one that we just don't necessarily see a need for. And then I am working directly with Jenny Dryden to inform her of what our recommendations are, so she can also look in Power School and make sure that the mapping that I have initially looked at is correct. So she's double checking me along the way. And then we're bringing our recommendations that Laura has also agreed with for your approval. So, do you want to add anything about that process? Yeah, it has been great to work with Felicia and align what we have in our course handbook along with the mapping in the background. It really has been eye-opening for us at the building level because we had some courses in there that were not aligned and mapped correctly. And so being able to get in there and really do the dirty work of looking at what we are offering our students and making sure everything is aligned with KCCMS, with Jenny. So it's been a whole process. It's been probably a 2 to 3 month process that we've been working together to make sure everything is aligned. So. So the courses that we have to present that you have in your packet tonight, we just listed them on the slide, but you have all of the details for each of those. Those forms are examples of kind of what that process looked like, all the information that I gathered from the building level with administration and counselors that then Ms. Batson and I sat down and looked together at to make sure that our course descriptions, our course numbers, everything maps. If there's licensure that we need to have aligned, all of those things. So there were more courses that were requested from the building level than we are recommending for at this time. Some of them are on a pause, and we will kind of reevaluate those every year. But after going through the entire process, these are the courses that we would like to recommend for adding into registration for next year.
For the high school.
For high school,
yes.
Yes.
We have somebody to teach tonight.
We do.
Yes.
Yes. We do have a teacher.
I love that you asked that question.
Certified.
Yes, we have someone who's certified that has a license.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
We also have 3 classes that will be added to the middle school that are not listed because they're not going into the course handbook for the high school. However, it'll be an Algebra 1 section for 8th graders. You'll notice in your course there is some prerequisites that are listed for 8th graders that are not required for our 9th graders. All right. You have in there your family and
Career life planning.
Career life planning. I knew it had changed. Sorry. I'm old. Career life planning in there, as well as an intro to Spanish.
Yes.
So those are 3 options that will be into our middle school as well.
And some of the thought process and reasoning behind career and life planning being offered at the 8th grade level is it's an introductory course to a lot of our CTE pathways. Introductory courses are not funded. So the sooner that we can get the introductory courses completed and let students get into the pathway in the high school, the more likely that we're going to have an increased number of completers in the pathway, which then, number 1, gets them increased success moving towards their secondary goals, but also then increases funding for pathways as well because we have more pathway completers. So by allowing them to at least take the introductory course in 8th grade, career and life planning opens the most pathways options. So that was our reasoning for moving that one down.
So any questions for Dr. Williams or Mr. Open?
Yeah. Can you explain on the 8th grade algebra? I saw it has high school credit. What is the rationale for giving high school credit in that?
Because it is actually going to be the Algebra 1 high school course, and it will be taught by the Algebra 1 high school teacher. They'll be following the exact same curriculum. So it's an advanced level course for students who are ready for that. That allows them to take more advanced mathematical courses later on in their high school career.
Well, and kind of my thought process behind that was if a person is taking algebra in grade school, they're probably, or in 8th grade, they're probably going to take 3, if not 4 math classes and satisfy all their requirements in high school anyway. So are they just getting extra high school credits that they maybe don't need or that they wouldn't overlook?
It just offers them more opportunities because they will be able to complete that requirement earlier. So then if they wanted to take either more pathway courses, an internship, dual credit courses through HCC, I'm sorry, I'm used to being Washburn Tech, I got to change that vocabulary in my head. And also like any of those other opportunities, if they have those high school credits completed, it just gives them more choices their junior and senior.
Where I see that a lot of time is for people who are interested in your biomedical type pathway, who want those higher level sciences or want to attend some of your colleges for your CNA type classes, but they need those 3 maths out. And so very bright, very talented students who can handle the higher level math
earlier
in there that don't do it. Because you're right, most of our kids who take algebra in 8th grade, if they're going into a STEM Division I type college, right, those type things, they're also going to take 4 years of math in high school. But in there, this allows them that option for those that are looking more into a specified field to be able to get the 3 high school credits. But they have to meet certain criteria, and just because you take it in 8th grade does not mean you're awarded credit in 8th grade. Because if you do not meet those markers, you will take algebra again as a 9th grader on it. You will not be awarded credit.
And just from a parent point of view, my own children, 2 of my boys, have had the opportunity to take either geometry or algebra 1 in their 8th grade year and then be able to extend up. And it's just allowed them opportunities to either take more of other courses. It was an opportunity for my oldest to be able to take debate and forensics 2 to 3 times a day, personally at his high school, because he had those other things out of the way. So it allowed him to kind of get into his passion area sooner as a junior and senior and kind of explore that because he had some more of those graduation requirements out of the way.
And I'm absolutely in favor of algebra. It's great. I just wondered about the credit.
Yeah, absolutely. Great question.
I did have one other question about the internship.
Mm-hmm.
Is there some kind of a rubric for those internships, or do you have like some idea of what would qualify versus what's just a job?
Correct. So those are the things that we are working on, getting the alignment together, the rubrics, what internship would count, what they have to turn in. They'll have to turn in what hours they have done during their internships, and be able to prove that they are actually going and participating. And so working alongside those businesses to make sure those things get turned in will.
This is not, just for those that don't have this in front of them, this is not a CTE pathway internship. This is a local credit. And this will be one of the big boulders Chad takes on, if you remember, being that liaison in this. So a student can apply for a local internship, work-based experience. It's what's called an MVA, a market value asset that they have to have for graduation in that. But there is some accountability pieces that have to be done, and she's named a lot of them. Not only that, but then their employer, direct supervisor, whatever, periodically has to fill in. Hey, here's how they're doing. Everything from showing up on time, those soft skills that we want to promote in there. How are they doing with customer service or responsibility, follow through, that type of thing.
Is the student also going to have some kind of a requirement of documenting, or what they're learning and what their
Reflection will be done. I actually have an entire course designed based around this concept that I had utilized in my previous district that we're working on looking at as a team to adapt it for Atchison. So it has all of those requirements. So it has ratings from the employer, time sheets, time cards that their employer signs, reflection papers that are done by the student. So it's actually a course, and they will receive a grade based on the work that they complete and turn in.
At this point in time, we have work study. Yes. Will we
Yes.
still have work study, or is this going to take a spot, or it's going to be different?
Well, it matters kind of where you're going with it.
Right.
Matters
Your
where they
IBS.
fall into
Yes.
it.
Yep. So it matters what you're doing with your eyes.
So they can still have a job and do work study and
Yes.
have the hour.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be, they're not going to get this out of it. Right. They don't have to have an internship to do it.
No, but I think we're talking two different things.
Right. To make sure they're still having to.
Right.
Two different. Correct. Yeah.
Okay. I would entertain a motion if someone wants to read that. It's at the bottom of the.
Madam President, I move that we approve the course additions and changes for the middle and high school as presented.
And a second?
I'll second.
Thank you so much. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, raise your right hand. Thank you so much. It does pass unanimously. Next,
For items for discussion on this, and as try as we may,
here we
we're
are.
not quite ready for that. So Nicole is going to tell you a little bit, just kind of tell you, you'll be getting it on Wednesday.
Yep, so we'll have these ready for you on Wednesday. Demerin is very ambitious and suggested by the end of the day tomorrow, but that may be like 9:30, 10 p.m. However, Wednesday for sure, we'll have those drafts ready for you to review. We just want to make sure we're consistent across the board with all three.
We gave him a bow tie tonight, and he's decided we can.
Now I have to run, but I can.
But, so you will get those at the absolute latest with your Wednesday update.
Okay.
If you will send thoughts, in there to let us kind of know your thinking on that. We will summarize, as Nicole usually does, here are the major changes we have included once again on that.
So next, we will enter into executive session, start to say discussion, negotiations. And entertain a motion for that, please.
So move.
Well, I gotta read it.
No, I gotta read it first.
Yeah,
Okay.
sorry, Dana. I like it.
Madam President, I move that the board recess into executive session to discuss the following subjects: negotiations. The justification for this executive session is to discuss employee negotiations, whether or not in consultation with the representative or representatives of the body or agency pursuant to the exception for employee negotiations under KOMA. The open meeting will resume in the BOE community room at 8 or 7:50. 10 minutes. 10 minutes. 10 minutes, and I ask that we invite Demerin Montgomery, Nicole Honeywell, and Laura Batson.
I'd entertain a second, please.
Second.
And any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, raise your right hand. We'll be back in 10 minutes.
Madam President, I move that the board go into executive session to discuss employment recommendations and individual employees' employment performance pursuant to non-elected personnel exemption under KOMA. The open meeting will resume in the boardroom in 20 minutes at 8:12. And I would ask that we invite Demerin Montgomery, Nicole Honeywell, and Laura Batson.
All right. Second, please. Second. Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, raise your right hand. Thank you so much. See you at 8:12. On the personnel action. Whoopsie. Oh, it's late. I need a motion for the personnel action, please. We're on 10. And if you roll down on 10, Madam President. Yeah, 10-1.
Madam President, I move that we accept the personnel report as presented.
Thank you so much. May I have a second? Thank you so much.
Before we, just because on the personnel report, Dr. Williams is going to be leaving our Phoenix family. And I would be remiss in not saying thank you to our high school principal. We have some amazing staff at all of our buildings, but on a personal note, I want to say thank you.
Yes.
For your welcome.
And we do wish you nothing but the best. You're right, Kathy. Thank you. I appreciate it. And seeing no other, all in favor, raise your right hand. Thank you so much. Before we adjourn tonight, I would like to take just a quick moment and give a shout out to Seth Howard and Urban Lawn Care for staying till 3 in the morning to get the high school banners up around town. They spent an entire day till 3 in the morning and then 2 nights in a row to get them down and put them back up so they would be there for our seniors. And I just think that was a beautiful act of love. So thank you so much for that. I'm sure he's probably half dead today, but maybe just a snippet, perhaps. Yeah. But anyway,
We wish nothing but the best for Urban Lawn Care.
Yes, yes. And with that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn. Thank you. Thank you so much. In my discussion, you all look dapper and beautiful in your tea party clothes. Thank you so much. Have a good, all in favor, raise your right hand. Thank you so much. Passes unanimously. Good night, everyone.